morning and welcome to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, and Calvin Butonoff coming to you live from our studio here at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us. You can call, you can text. The number is the same, 855-752-4842. You can leave a comment as well if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Got a jam-packed show coming up for you today. In just a minute, we're going to welcome Ben Wickler, the chair of the Democratic Party of Wisconsin. After the 10:30 news, we're going to talk about child care, which is an ongoing issue here. Corrine Hendrickson has a child care center in northern Wisconsin. She's going to join us after the 10:30 news. They are having an event this Saturday in Ashland. So if you're in that area and you are concerned about childcare, you may want to check that out. Should be very, very interesting. Next hour, federal money and your school district. Donald Trump, of course, has talked about eliminating the Department of Education. If that would happen, just how much money would your school district end up losing? And where are they supposed to recover those funds? That will be after the 11 o'clock news. As we always do, we will lighten things up for the last half hour of the show with a segment we like to call Audio Sorbet. So after the 11:30 news, we're going to talk about your favorite line from a movie. What is your favorite movie line? Something we started talking about with Don Rosen from WRJN. He does the morning show over on WRJN. And before he took off this morning, we were kicking that around. So we'll talk about your favorite movie lines, and we will wrap it all up, as we always do, with This Shouldn't Be a Thing. Today it is the Bear With Me edition. That is all on the way. But as we said, we're going to start off this morning with Ben Wickler, the chair of the Wisconsin Democratic Party. Good morning, Ben. Thanks so much for joining us. I am sure you have many, many, many things going on in we're less than a week away from the April 1st election.
Yes, indeed. We have 6 days and then we wake up and it's election day. This election has become a referendum on whether people like what Donald Trump and Elon Musk are doing, destroying Social Security, attacking the Veterans Administration, attacking the Department of Education, operating outside the Constitution and the law, whether we want a rubber stamp in Brad Schimmel's hands, who has completely sold himself to Elon Musk and is essentially running on a promise to do whatever it is that Trump wants, even if Trump breaks the law, or if we want a fair, impartial, honest judge like Susan Crawford, who will apply the law equally to everybody, no matter how many billions of dollars they might have. That's essentially the question. And then whether to have a total abortion ban in our state, which Brad Schimmel seems to really want. We have just a handful of days left. Elon Musk has poured $19.3 million into the Schimmel campaign, and Schimmel is now running ads all the time using Musk money about how Trump has endorsed him. And he claims that Susan Crawford would block Trump's agenda, implying whatever it is that Trump wants to do, he'll support it. So this is a very clear choice. And I have to say the key to this is turnout. It is getting people, recruiting people to go cast a ballot for Susan Crawford.
Yep, absolutely. Early voting is underway right now. So if you don't want to wait until Tuesday, you can go cast your vote today. And if you're not sure where to go to myvote.wi.gov. It's a wonderful resource. Not only will it tell you where to go cast your ballot, it will show you what is on the ballot. It has all of your elected officials, all of their contact information, which I just think is nice to have in case you ever want to give them a friendly call. But go to myvote.wi.gov and take advantage of it and make a plan now for how you're going to go vote next Tuesday. If you're not going to vote early, Ben, we've tried to encourage people to make it a thing, make it an event. Get 4 friends with you who might not necessarily have easy access to go vote. Maybe you can all carpool together and then go get brunch or go do something. But this is critically important. And you had mentioned Brad Schimmel. I was really stunned, Ben, when he came out and said that it is his role as a Supreme Court justice in Wisconsin to be a support for the Trump administration. I didn't think that was in their job requirements.
I mean, last time I checked, in the U.S. Constitution, in the Wisconsin Constitution, there is something called separation of powers. And the judiciary is supposed to be a check and a balance on the executive, meaning we don't have a king. The king doesn't decide what's legal and what's not. It is up to the courts to decide that. And if a rogue president breaks the law, they need to be held accountable. But Schimmel's just running ads all the time, and Musk's people are going around handing out these flyers that say, that Schimmel will advance Trump's agenda. And Schimmel is saying on the campaign trail that he'll be Trump's support network. Like, this is not the job.
Right.
And like this administration is ripping up our Constitution in real time right now as it's attacking things that working families rely on across the country, across the state of Wisconsin. So the idea that the state Supreme Court would just become another kind of henchman as Trump tramples Social Security, like that is, it makes me want to rip my hair out. And this is the question that we get to decide. Nowhere else in the country do people get to cast a ballot in this moment to determine whether the whole government will collapse under the Musk-Trump attack. But here in Wisconsin, we can actually vote for Susan Crawford and ensure that we have a judiciary that understands that its job is not to follow the whims of right-wing billionaires, but to serve the people and our Constitution.
I would say that one of the other things too, and because we all get the mailers, get the door knocker, the things that are hanging on our doorknobs, how little Brad Schimmel actually even matters in the equation, because everything I get for Brad Schimmel has a picture of Donald Trump on it. It's not even Brad Schimmel, and it's always Donald Trump with a thumb in the air saying Brad Schimmel will be the guy for Trump. So really, I mean, if we could see, if there was any more proof that Brad Schimmel is just going to be nothing but a conduit of the agenda, I think that's the proof right there.
100%. 100%. As of this morning, literally, they're running this ad that it starts with Trump endorsing, breaking news, Trump has endorsed Brad Schimmel, and then it ends with a shot of Trump surrounded by his cabinet signing some kind of executive order to attack the Department of Education or whatever it is. And then the middle is a woman in Wisconsin saying, if Susan Crawford's elected, then all the good things Trump is doing might not trickle down to Wisconsin, which is like, I don't think we want the things that Trump is doing to trickle down to Wisconsin. The trickle is like corrosive acid destroying, our state parks and cancer research and the airline administration and veterans administration and like that is what we do not want to happen here.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think, Ben, that people disagree that there's not waste in government. I think everyone can agree that, yes, there are probably things things that could be pared down and pared back, but you don't do that by coming in with a chainsaw. And then a week later hiring back the 25,000 people that you just let go without even knowing what jobs those people were essentially doing.
I'll tell you a little story that just sent a chill down my spine. The U.S. does this brilliant thing for generations. We collect the seeds for all the different types of wheat and all the different crops that keep Americans alive, that feed families across this country. In case some kind of blight arrives and destroys one, then we have the backup alternatives. But Musk came in and fired the people responsible for keeping the seed bank. So this is like just exposing us to future biblical pestilence or locusts or whatever. And these blights come all the time. I read another thing yesterday. Someone was creating a better COVID medicine, and then their clinical trial was shut down because the National Institutes of Health canceled their grant funding. So this is like basic stuff about safeguarding humanity, safeguarding our food supply, safeguarding our health from viruses and diseases that spread over and over. We know this happens. We just had the COVID pandemic. Musk is shutting down our ability to respond to crises, and he's doing that with Trump's full support. It is the most short-sighted, disastrous, stupid thing I've ever seen. It's like a dentist operating with a chainsaw.
Well, and you make such a good point, though. These do not seem like long-term thinkers, long-term planners. They're not looking, well, what could the possible ramifications be from this? There doesn't seem to be that element in their decision-making.
Yeah, not even a little bit. This is essentially, we have 6 days to get this right. And if we can defeat Musk and Brad Schimmel in this election, then it sends a message to the whole country that no matter how much money Musk puts in, that voters are going to reject his agenda. And that, my hope, could lead Republicans to actually stopping the march off the cliff that they're doing with Elon Musk at this moment. Democrats are totally united against what Musk is doing. What we need to do is show Republicans that their jobs are on the line. And that is something that we can only do at the ballot box. No matter what the polls say, if they think that Musk's fortune can be a get out of political jail free card for them, then Republicans will keep rubber stamping this stuff, including all 6 of Wisconsin's Republican members of Congress and Ron Johnson, who seems to love it. So we have to win this election to send a message to the whole country that Musk has to be stopped. He is out of control and Americans will not accept it.
If you're just joining us, Ben Wickler is our guest, the chair of the Wisconsin Democratic Party. Talk 6 days away. We go to the polls on April 1st with a number of important races. The biggest one, the state Supreme Court race between Brad Schimmel and Susan Crawford. Of course, we have the race for the person who will head up the Department of Public Instruction, either Jill Underly, the incumbent, or Brittany Kinzer. And then that constitutional amendment also on the ballot. Going back to Brad Schimmel's campaign, we do have a little clip that we wanted to play for you about one of the door knockers who is apparently going out on behalf of Elon Musk and being paid by a PAC that is funded by Elon Musk. Galvin, do we have that little bit, that clip ready, please? Can you play that?
Yeah. You're like being paid by Elon Musk right now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Why
So
are
you don't
saying
you don't
sorry?
support Brad Schimmel?
Okay, so I'm gonna say this. I don't know much about anything. Like, girl, this is just a job for me. I'm just out here getting a check. I'm not gonna
Who
lie to
pays you guys?
So basically, American PAC, that's who I work under. Is a company that's sponsored by Elon Musk and Donald Trump. So that's who basically pays them. So yeah, I'm just like
How much do you get paid?
girl, I get paid like $25 an hour.
25 an hour. Cool.
Not enough money apparently to know what the candidate stands for. When Democrats send out door knockers, because Democrats do this too, are your door knockers at least a little better educated about the candidate that they're purportedly supporting?
Well, we have volunteers that go knock on doors across Wisconsin, and these are people knocking in their own communities who do it because they care, because they know that Brad Schimmel is corrupt, that he's gives plea deals to child pornography defendants when their lawyers contribute to his campaign, and didn't sue the opioid manufacturers, and is now doing whatever it is that Musk wants because he's pouring money into his campaign. And they know that Susan Crawford is the kind of public servant that you actually want treating everyone equally who walks into the courtroom. And they know that, and they talk about it with voters. And I don't begrudge someone who needs to get a paycheck to walk around. But I think what we can see here is exactly the kind of corruption and decay that happens when Musk is in charge of things. He's doing that to federal government. He's doing that to this race. Don't let him do it to the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Vote against
We can stop it. Go vote early. Go vote next Tuesday, April 1st. Be a voter, baby. Everybody who's anybody is a voter. Ben Wickler is the chair of the Wisconsin Democratic Party. Thank you so much for your time, Ben. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care.
Stay close. You were listening to Matenaer On Air. This is the Civic Media Radio Network. We'll be right back. morning. Welcome to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, and the Board Lord coming to you from our studio here at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us. Call or text. It is the same number, 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. By the way,
What?
if you have the Civic Media app,
I do.
you can call and text directly from the app
Yeah.
to whatever station you're listening to across the state.
Are you serious?
I am absolutely serious. And there's yet another reason why you would like and should get the Civic Media app.
What can I do, Jane, as a Civic Media employee with it?
Well, you can make sure you have the updated version.
I do.
That's important.
Yeah.
After the 11 o'clock news, it is our break into spring text to win statewide contest. It's your daily chance to pick up either a Chula Vista getaway, Milwaukee Brewers club level ticket seats. We have sat in those seats. They are very good seats.
Yes.
Or $100 in cash. And then every entry gets you into the grand prize drawing. Brand new queen mattress set from Verlo with a mattress and sheets and more. It's our break into spring text to win statewide contest, but you have to use the Civic Media app.
Yeah, you can't drop the word in the comments on the live stream.
Don't email it to us, please. You have to use the app. So if you haven't downloaded it yet, go to wherever you get your apps, type in Civic Media, CIVIC, Civic Media, and download the Civic Media app so you will be ready right after the 11 o'clock news for the word that you need to text in to be in the running for a great prize.
All right.
And by the way, one
Yeah.
other little side note, because like on my phone too, you can expand things.
Yeah.
If you expand it out too far, say you're looking at the app and you expand it out too far, you might not be able to see the text button,
Yeah, you want to make sure it fits the original normal framing.
the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just be aware of that. And again, right after the 11 o'clock news, the word of the hour. So stay close and be tuned for that. We were talking with Ben Wickler right before we went to the break and talking about the April 1st election, just 6 days away. Susan Crawford against Brad Schimmel for an open spot on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Brad Schimmel, of course, will be there to support Donald Trump. I didn't know that was his job.
And that's the thing too, is like we could say that and just be like, whimsical about it, but he has made it very clear.
Yeah.
We're not assuming, we're not talking out of turn, and we're not making anything up. He has said this will be a judgeship in service to Donald Trump.
Exactly. Again, I didn't think that was his job. Ollie from the Northwoods is on the line. Good morning, Ollie. Thank you for joining us. What do you want to say about this?
Well, I hope you have time for just a couple of quick things. When I listened in the morning, I heard a ad for Brad Schimmel, and it specifically lies about Susan Crawford wanting to get rid of the voter ID. Nowhere on any of the shows she's been on have I heard her say that.
Right.
And also, I want to make a point to all the Wisconsin voters that do we really want Trump's support of BS or Elon Musk paying for BS's campaign here in Wisconsin, given the way that they are destroying the country? That should be a big red flag for all of us not to vote for Schimmel.
Yep. I appreciate it, Ollie. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you listening. Yeah, again, I am disturbed by this. And I know one of our listeners asked yesterday, what about when people say, well, George Soros is backing Susan Crawford and he spends millions. Elon Musk has spent $19 million. George Soros, I believe, has spent about $2 million.
And
which is probably the same amount that the Elines have spent on the other side.
And it does bring up a conversation about big money and in politics and elections, and we all can talk about that till we're blue in the face, but unfortunately Citizens United is a thing, therefore they can donate. But George Soros also doesn't have interest in Wisconsin.
He doesn't have a court case right now.
Exactly. So you can get all sore about Soros, but this is not anything unusual for him. The fact that Elon is dumping nearly $20 million into a race where he has a vested interest, that should say something. But I know that no one will care, because the moment you say Soros, like, oh, that's right, he's paying people to be agitators. No, he's not. There's no proof of that whatsoever.
Not at all.
In fact, if anything, it's Elon Musk who's paying people to knock on doors for Brad Schimmel. And we just heard a clip saying so. These people do not know what Brad Schimmel stands for.
They're not his supporters.
They're doing it for a job, and it's a good paying job.
$25 an hour. That's not bad. I'm still waiting for the pay stubs from everyone who's been paid off by George Soros.
Yeah.
We still haven't seen any evidence of that. But, I just real quickly, because it amuses us and for no other reason than that, Wisconsin Senior Senator Ron Johnson, we never see him in Wisconsin, but he's all over Fox News and podcasters. And Ron Johnson took time to talk to Charlie Kirk about Wisconsin Supreme Court race. Calvin, we have that clip. Let's play that clip, please, from a Wisconsin senior senator who no one ever sees here in Wisconsin.
We need to get out to vote because this is a race between a judge, Dan
Kelly.
Who?
I've got a senior moment here.
What?
Schimmel.
Brad Schimmel.
Oh, yeah.
And his opponent,
Yeah.
Susan Crawford, who will be a judicial activist, someone who will legislate from the bench, will first redistrict the congressional seats. We'll probably lose a couple seats from that standpoint. Then the next thing they'll do is overturn Act 10. That'll cost Wisconsinites hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars over the time. Probably overturn voter ID. We may never have another free and fair election in Wisconsin. We'll certainly never clean up our voter rolls.
There's so much there.
Find me the commercial, find me the piece of literature, find me the interview, find me anything where Susan Crawford says she's going to do any of those things. And then I will show you every piece of media that shows that Brad Schimmel will be nothing but a Trump-loving activist judge looking to deconstruct and destroy everything we've done the past 2 years.
Without a doubt. Stay with us. We have news coming up next. When we come back, we're talking childcare in Wisconsin. Corrine Hendrickson is going to join us, the owner of Corine's Little Explorers Family Childcare. There's an event coming up that if you are in the area, you want to make plans to attend. That's all on the way. Stay close. You are listening to Matenaer On Air on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Good morning, Kareen. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, we're good.
Yes, we come back from break in about 1 minute.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning and welcome to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, Sweet Cal B on the board, coming to you from our studio here at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us, call or text. The number is the same, 855-752-4842. Leave a comment. If you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter, don't forget our Break into Spring text to win statewide contest is underway. You have a chance 4 times a day, 7, 11, 1, and 4 o'clock hours to either pick up a Chula Vista getaway, some really nice Milwaukee Brewers club level tickets, or $100 in cash. And every entry puts you into the grand prize drawing for a brand new queen mattress set from Verlo, including a mattress, sheets, and much, much more. You will have the word. You need to text in right after the 11 o'clock news. So make sure you have the Civic Media app. That is the only way to enter. Go to wherever you get your apps, look for Civic Media, download that. It's completely free, and then you will be ready to go to text in that word. That's the only way to enter. You can't email it in. You can't send it in the chat, unfortunately. You do need the Civic Media app coming up after 11:06. Really looking forward to talking to our next guest. She runs the Kareen's Little Explorers Family Childcare. There is an event coming up this Saturday from 9:30 to 11 about childcare in Wisconsin and just how important it is. Kareen Hendrickson is joining us once again. Good morning, Kareen. Thanks for being here.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So the funding that we have in place right now for the Child Care Counts program, that's going to come to an end at the end of July. Can you explain, Kareen, what that would mean for you and so many other daycare providers in Wisconsin?
Yeah, so right now, our state invests $0 of state dollars in our budget. All of the childcare system that includes pre-licensing, our licensors, the way for parents to find us, all the things is federally funded, including our subsidy system for children on low income. So we have had this childcare counts program because during COVID, it was revealed how big of a deal it is to have access to childcare to those in power, because somehow us women in charge don't know anything, I guess. And so we were able to take that funding, and the department worked with us to best allocate it. We were one of the states that did it through wages, to increase wages so that we could stay in business, so that we could hire, recruit, retain quality people. And without that funding, I have to raise my rates $30 a week. I've already had parents tell me they don't know that they can afford that because I already have raised my rates $65 a week from over a year ago because the funding was cut and not replaced, and some other things kind of happened. And inflation, like all the costs are going up. And so without this funding being put into our state budget for the first time, have any state dollars in the state budget to invest in childcare, we're looking at mass closures. We're looking at tuition increasing substantially. We're talking 10, 20, 30%. Some places that would be as much as $50 a week per kid. Parents already can't afford it. So those of us who don't close right away may try to hold on, But when we increase our tuition and we lose just a few families, we then no longer can stay open and we will close. So even those who make enough to afford that extra will still lose their access to care. Even those employers who have pay their employees and are able to pay their employees well enough, they will still lose employees because those people will no longer have access to care. So we're looking at a disaster.
And I think it's important for folks to realize, because I can imagine some people listening going, well, that's too bad. You can't afford it. Then mom just stays home and mom stays home with the kids. But if mom is working, and most people are both adults are working in the household. That's just the way the economy is working and has been working for a long time. You are pulling this person out of a working economy. That has ramifications too.
Yeah, and that's the part that people don't seem to understand. If they don't have kids, they don't think it matters. Well, guess what? When your doctor or dentist no longer has the people they need to keep functioning, you now no longer have access to those appointments. Your favorite restaurant, there's limited hours in so many places because of the lack of childcare. And over 70% of women with children under 5 work. And we still have lost ground and we still haven't made it up. Wisconsin was always a leader in women in the workforce. And it's because we want to be in the workforce. It's not that we don't want to be, we want to be. So you're also taking people who want to be outside of the home and spend time with their kids still, but enjoy their time with their kids. And we're forcing them to stay home in an environment that they feel more secluded and, away from other people. They don't have the support systems. And so then we're looking at like what's happening to that woman, what's happening to those children, what's happening to that family unit. Or you end up with parents trying to work first, second, third shifts opposite of each other. And that destroys a marriage and a relationship. So we're looking at economic, we're looking at family, we're looking at all of the things that make our communities important. And it's such an obvious solution to the rest of the world. Everybody else uses our data and they make it and they pay for it. And yet we don't use our own to, justify, verify, whatever it is that needs to happen for those in power to decide that investment is a good idea. Our state already loses $2 billion a year economically because we do not invest in childcare. And this will just make it worse.
It's just frustrating for me. I'm sorry. I don't have a question so much as it's frustrating. We talk about this all the time. This is just one of many topics that Wisconsin taxpayers, parents, grandparents even who have to deal with childcare. These are the things they struggle with every day. Meanwhile, in Madison, they're like, well, we should talk about voter ID. I can't imagine someone in your position who not only an advocate for this cause, but you work in the industry, constantly beating on a door saying, well, no, this isn't it's important in a speech. It's important in front of a camera, but it's not important on the floor where these facts are being debated. And it just really makes it hard for me to believe that these individuals in Madison are call themselves pro-family.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, but it is. It's we love babies, we love mothers, we love all these things. Well, great. What do you do for these babies after they're born? Well, yeah, then you're kind of on your own. You better get a job picking something in a field somewhere. You're 5. It's time.
Especially in Florida.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story. If you're just joining us, Corrine Hendrickson is our guest, and she is the owner of Corrine's Little Explorers Family Child Care. Corrine, there's an event going on this Saturday from 9:30 to 11 at Treetop Child Development Center and Preschool. Can you tell us a little bit about that event and what's going to be happening then?
Yep. So it's up in Ashland, Wisconsin. And so my colleague and co-founder of Wisconsin Early Childhood Action Needed, Brooke Legler, and I started doing these presentations in Greene County with our childcare network, with the Mental Health Matters Committee. So we tie together how mental health, children's development, brain development, the workforce, and the importance of the teachers and the adults that are working for and caring for and educating with these children get paid a decent wage so that they can stay and that they can meet those needs of the kids. And we talk about when we've now taken this statewide, we did one in Fond du Lac, I've done one in Wauwatosa, and we're working with a few other people across the state to support them. So we're encouraging our weekend members to do them on their own, but most are like, come with, because you can answer the national and the bigger questions. And I'm like, okay. But really when I go, I'm in a supporting role, and that the lead is the people in that community because it's their community. They know it best. So we actually have Superintendent of the Ashland School District, Rob Prater, speaking, and Marie Kay Nebosny, sorry if I butchered that, from Workforce Development, and a parent are all going to be speaking and sharing their stories too. So it's incredibly important for these community conversations to be having, to talk about childcare and how it interacts with the community. And basically, I say we're the spoke in the wheel of the foundation of our entire economy. That childcare is, whether it's a paid person doing it, like I do, family childcare or group center, or if it's the parent staying home with their own child. We have to support the fact that women have been putting too much on our backs for too long without being paid, or, we're told and patted on our heads like, oh, you're so great. This is wonderful. Thanks, keep smiling pretty or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, no man would ever do this. Why do we do it? So we really are trying to have these conversations and talk about solutions, real solutions, not throw more children in a room because they're not widgets, they're people, and really having these conversations and getting in depth and again, like to Greg's point, yes, they keep saying it's an issue, it's a problem, we have to solve it. But then they throw these things that are absurd and nobody wants as the solution. And then when we try to say, well, this isn't why, then they say, well, you just want a handout. And we're like, you give handouts all the time to all these other groups, and they are true handouts. You are not expected to raise wages. You are not expected to do anything. You don't have to do audits or prove yourself. You just get it because, I don't know, because you're a man.
Well, I'm not gonna sit there and go. I'm not gonna get into that, but I will say, well, when it's a company and those companies can write big checks, checks are, who doesn't love a check?
Elon Musk gets billions and billions of dollars from the U.S. government. Billions of
Gets
dollars.
more handouts than anybody.
Seriously, and I'd love to know how much auditing they are doing with all of this money that, like, Elon and all these other big corporations get. That's our money. Corrine Hendrickson is our guest, and we're talking about childcare in Wisconsin. There's an event this Saturday in Ashland. We will include this in our show notes if you live in that area and you would like to attend. Something else that I have learned in talking to you, Corrine, is just how important those early years are for little kids, for munchkins, and the interactions with other children, the things that they can learn from birth to 5. There's a lot going on in those early years.
Oh, absolutely. 90% of brain development happens in those first 5 years. And those neural connections in the brains happen by having relationships with other people, with the caring adults. And so a lot of times we don't like to talk about this, but sometimes that only caring adult that's consistent in a child's life is their child care educator. And so we are a buffer also for these children, and we are consistent. And then we also are the connection for the parents. So when the parents have questions about raising their child, if the parents want to know how they can be a better parent, we are also working with the parents and helping them so that they can have a better relationship with their child. And so, sometimes poverty, accidents, diseases, things happen in families, and we are that consistent person. And then when you are paying us $13 an hour for group centers, I make around $8 an hour as a family childcare. And then you're having to work extra hours and extra jobs so that you can keep a roof over your own head. How are you then able to work with those kids in a way that you need to work with them? How do you have the patience? And so we're basically setting up the adults for failure. We're setting up the children for failure in our society as well. And now there's more and more news things coming out saying, like, more and more like child cares are having issues with getting written up, losing their license. It's because, and then of course the excuse is, well, you're terrible, you don't deserve the funding. No, the reason that we're having the issue is because we can only pay around $12, $13 an hour. There are no benefits. So we can't get quality people who can do the job, who can be trained, who have mentors that can help them stick around. And then you end up with a warm body, and you end up putting children and adults into situations that are untenable and unfair. And so really looking at, like, it's a societal systemic issue. This is not a personal issue. This is not something that, is going to be like pull yourself by the bootstraps and you can fix it yourself. It is a systemic failure. And it's something that we need to be more accountable to and have the guts to say it does not have to be this way. And that's a lot of what these conversations are about, and why we do them is to help people understand it does not have to be this way. So stop and do something better and different.
Well, and stop coming up with legislation that is a solution in search of a problem. We have problems right now that could use some solutions. Maybe you should focus on some of that stuff instead of what might happen down the road, potentially, possibly, maybe. We're going to continue our conversation with Corrine Hendrickson. I believe, I'm almost positive, Some of our lawmakers are sitting on money that should already have been distributed to child care centers. Does that sound accurate? We'll find out on the other side. Stay with us. You're listening to Matenaer On Air on the Civic Media Radio Network. We'll be right back.
And you of tender years can't know the fears that your elders grew by. And so please help them with your youth. They see the truth before they can die. Teach your parents well. Their children's hell will slowly go by. And feed them on your dreams. The one they picked, the one you know by. Don't you ever ask them why. If they told you, you would cry. So just look at them and sigh. And know they love you.
Good morning and welcome back to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, Dr. Slide on the board, coming to you from our studio here at Radio Park in Racine. Join us, call or text at 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Don't forget, right after the 11 o'clock news, about 11:06, we will give you the secret word of the hour. Our statewide text to win contest is underway. You've got a chance to pick up some great prizes in the 7, 11, 1, and 4 o'clock hours. And the word coming up, you do have to have the Civic Media app in order to take part. So you got 9 minutes-ish. I don't math.
Get
so
ready.
It's close. It's happening soon. Download the Civic Media app. 9, 10, 11. I have to, whatever.
Oh, boy.
I said it's coming shortly.
Mathing with Jane Matenaer.
So download the Civic Media app. wherever you get your apps. We're talking to Corrine Hendrickson. She knows how to math because she runs a childcare center. And there's a special event coming up this Saturday in Ashland, the critical role of childcare in our community from 9:30 to 11. Corrine owns Corrine's Little Explorers Family Childcare and talking about really how critically important it is to all of us and to our economy to have a system that works for working parents. One thing I did see, Corrine, and correct me if I'm wrong, because we were talking about only federal dollars right now go to support childcare in Wisconsin. No state dollars do. But Wisconsin's famous Joint Finance Committee is sitting on several $1 million intended for childcare, and yet that money has not yet been distributed. Is that accurate?
That is accurate. And actually, there was $15 million put in the last state budget, and it was put towards the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation to do with what they wanted after Governor Evers vetoed the loan program and turned it into a grant. And then also they tried to reverse that legislatively and turn it back into a loan. And all of us showed up to testify and say, that's not what we want. That's not what we need. It's not going to do any good. If you're looking at people getting into family childcare, it's hard enough to get started. You're not going to take on the debt of the, a loan. And plus, like, how am I paying this back? Come on. And you give grants out all the time to start businesses. You give out grants all the time to expand, whatever. And so the WEDC asked the Joint Finance Committee to add it to the child care accounts pot. And what that would do is it actually would extend it either by a month and a half, or it would actually add to the amount that we get each month for the last few months. And it's just sitting there. And Senator Mark Line is the co-chair of the JFC, and he's actually my senator. We did get a meeting with him this last Wednesday as a Greene County Child Care Network. We've been asking him for a long time to come to our meetings, and to meet with us. And he did meet with us for an hour. And we talked about our books. We showed him our budgets. We talked to him about tuition. We had 2 parents come that actually said they cannot find work because they don't have childcare. And so having the real people have that conversation, and having the educators in the classroom were there talking to him about how hard it is to only make so much money an hour, and how they're likely going to leave as soon as their child enters kindergarten and go work for the school, because then they get benefits and get paid better, and wouldn't need the wraparound care. And so it was a really decent conversation. And we did, bring up a lot of investments and why it's needed and how this will help the parents and how it will open up more slots. So I'm hoping that he did listen and that he took note, and that maybe there's some hope that something will happen. But as far as the $15 million, it's still sitting there. Haven't heard anything. It's at any point, Senator Mark Line and Co-Chair Bourne could put it on an exec session and they could pass it. And so by them not doing it, it makes me very curious how this is going to shape up this summer in the budget, because if they can't even bring themselves to put $15 million towards us, what's going to happen next? So
Cassandra on the live stream said our rep Dave Murphy suggested to a daycare owner that we need to loosen restrictions on in-home daycare providers. And that once again, as we talked about earlier, you're giving, these are not solutions. These are just, do this instead.
Try this thing.
Anything not to give you money, but just try, let the 4-year-olds take care of the 2-year-olds. It's fine.
Yeah, tell me you've never set foot in a family childcare without telling me. Because that is exactly what that is to me. And again, loosening restrictions is actually a problem. Other states have. They've loosened their ratios. They've loosened the number of children you can have maximum. And it's affecting us in Wisconsin, because now we cannot get homeowners insurance to cover us if we watch one child. So even if other states are doing this, it's hurting us. And so we're getting dropped by liability insurance companies left and right, because the liability is going up because of all these deregulatory, because children are hurt, children are dying. It is happening. That's why we have the rules and regulations.
Right.
And so because of that, it's affecting my liability insurance. And luckily my homeowners does keep us, but I've heard multiple people getting letters from their homeowners saying they'll no longer cover you for your home if anything happens to your home. This doesn't even include the kids.
I'm sorry. I'm just processing that. I have to take a moment. I give Mark Line credit for being brave enough to show up, because so many of them just don't even have the courage to do that. But yet it disturbs me that this information you provided to him was like revelatory, and he's never heard this before. This isn't a new issue. This isn't something that's coming out of nowhere. Nobody saw this coming. This has been a problem for a long time.
Yeah, it's weird that it needed to be said to him to make it real. And then also, I don't know how much, like we all are writing and talking to the staffers. I don't know what's been able to go through in the meantime. And so it was great that he did come to us.
Yes.
And I think all of our representatives should be doing that.
Corrine Hendrickson has been our guest. Thank you so very, very much, Corrine. We will put all of the related information into our show notes. You can check it out at civicmedia.us. Corrine, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. News coming up next. Download that Civic Media app. You're going to need it to take part in our statewide Text to Win contest. That's all on the way. Keep it right here on the vast, statewide, countrywide, global on the app, baby. Civic Media Radio Network. Welcome to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, Calvin Butenoff coming to you live from our studio here at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us, call or text. The number is the same, 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Busy hour coming up this hour. In about 15 minutes, we're going to talk about Signal Gate. Hasn't gone away. Defense officials sharing war plans on an unsecured app, as we all do.
I do.
And how this is being spun. And new details coming out even as we speak. There are hearings going on Capitol Hill. We'll have a little update for you. We're calling it Sucked Into Signal. Because the reporter who was included on this, now they're making it all his fault.
Yeah.
He got sucked into this chat.
Yeah.
Somehow he accessed this. You kind of have to be invited to but that's coming
we'll
up.
Get to that. Yeah.
We'll get to that. After the 11:30 news, we're going to lighten it up as we always do, what we'd like to call our audio sorbet segment. Just to take a breath. What's your favorite movie line? Your favorite line from a movie? There are so many.
Yeah.
We're going to share yours. We're going to share ours. What's your favorite line from a movie?
And those you can text, call, live stream. You can get it to us however you want.
Many different ways.
Many different ways.
Many ways.
But Jane, there's only one way. One way to play the game.
That's right. It is our Break Into Spring Text to Win statewide contest. Your daily chance to pick up a Chula Vista Getaway, Milwaukee Brewers Club level tickets. We've been in those seats.
Good tickets.
Those are really nice brewer seats. Or $100 in cash. And every entry gets you into our grand prize drawing, a brand new queen mattress set from Verlo, including a mattress, sheets, and more. So here we go. This is the word you need to text in via the Civic Media app right now. This hour's word is spring. S-P-R-I-N-G. Text in the word spring right now until noon. This hour, we are playing for $100 in cash. And again, every entry is going to get you into the drawing for the grand prize. Your next chance to play in the 1 o'clock hour with Todd and then the 4 p.m. hour with Dom Salvia. But right now, the word to text in via the Civic Media app only is spring. S-P-R-I-N-G.
We had Todd Alba on Up North News Radio this morning, and he was trying to play all cool. Like, I don't know, man. I think Jay Matenaer's going to smoke us this time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
sure.
Who knows? Who knows what'll happen? Mr. Todd Alba.
Todd's got an army.
He does.
He
What do you call him?
I call them the Allbots.
We need to come up with a good name for your fans.
Text that in too if you would like.
Keep it clean.
Yes, please keep it clean. Jill from Green Bay texting in right now. We have Ronnie from Horicon. Northwoods Terry checking in. Amy from Madison. Keep those entries coming in. The word to text in this hour is spring. S-P-R-I-N-G. And if you'd like to share your name and where you're texting from, we would love to know that
Absolutely.
too. That is always a lot of fun. All right, you have until noon. I will remind you a couple more times. We're trying to beat Todd. We've never beat Todd yet.
Yeah,
last time it was by like 83 entries, which isn't bad.
We always have a decent showing.
We do.
That's the thing.
We have a great showing.
And then Todd just pats us on our head and gives us an ice cream cone, and we run away, even though we're like, it's fine. We're crying inside.
Spring is the word. S-P-R-I-N-G. Text in the word spring, where we've got $100 up for grabs, and then again, everyone will be entered into the grand prize. We got Teresa from Madison, Mary from Sussex, Nicole from Madison. The word is spring. Oh, Janiacs.
Oh, Janiacs.
Janiacs from Nicole.
I like Janiacs.
In Madison. We can work with that.
I want a few more, though.
All right.
But Janiacs.
Oh, good one. All right. We did want to spend a little time talking about federal funding for Wisconsin schools.
Yes.
Because Donald Trump, of course, has talked about, yes, we're just going to eliminate the Department of Education. Won't that be great? And everything will just go back to the states. That would be fine, I guess, except for the fact that there is a lot of federal money that comes to Wisconsin schools. Not just a school district you don't like.
Yeah.
all school districts
Yes.
across Wisconsin. And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, at 855-752-4842, most people like their public schools.
Most people, when you ask them about their public schools, they're going to tell you, well, our schools are great.
I love my school,
Our
right?
schools are great, but it's the other ones we don't like.
Exactly. And federal funding does a lot of things for Wisconsin schools, including providing assistance for students with disabilities, economically disadvantaged families, youth mental health programs. We talk about this so much, and there is so much lip service given to this when we have school shootings and other things, and then it's all about it's never the guns, it's mental health. We need to fund mental health, and then when it comes time to shell out the money to fund programs for mental health, it's like, well, yeah, we can't do that.
No, let's not make it political either. Let's talk about mental health. I'm sorry. I get someone who deals with mental health issues. Whenever we say, yeah, let's talk about it, I'm like, great.
Yes, let's.
When?
And let's spend some money to support these mental health programs.
Let's not spend some money. Let's invest some
money, which is exactly what it is. So we are going to put this in our show notes. Yes. There is a listing from the Department of Public Instruction here in Wisconsin. You can actually click on your own school district to find out exactly how much federal money is coming to your school, which then I'm assuming if this happens and they get rid of the Department of Education, those dollars go bye-bye.
Yes, they're gone. And because we're here in Radio Park, which is located in Racine, I just decided to go to the Racine Racine Public School District, never mind, whatever, and check out what would affect them. Federal funding for Racine Unified School District, RUSD, that was what I was looking for, is $28,630,989. That is 10% of the total funding. Federal government gives between 10 and 11% funding to school districts, and they broke it up into two sections. $19,325,088 is the Department of Education funding to the district itself. $9.3 million additional funds are from the U.S. Department of Agriculture funding, which covers meals for hungry kids.
Right.
And that program is being cut.
Yes.
So you talk about nearly $30 million to one district. And then you talk about a school program that includes just feeding children.
Right.
So where do we go next? I mean, we could do you want to put that on a referendum?
They would never put that on a referendum.
No. And
because it would never go the way they wanted to.
Yeah. No, absolutely not. I mean, and we're starting to see fatigue on this. In Kenosha, in our primary, we had a referendum to fund schools through a tax increase, and Kenosha voted no. I voted yes. I don't have children. I don't have children in school. I want kids to have a good education. But I understand why some people might say, no, enough is enough.
Yes, and because this happens every time we go to the polls, it seems like there's another school referendum on there because they are not getting proper funding to stay open.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
855-752-4842. If you would like to join our conversation, we have Tim from Eau Claire is on the line. Good morning, Tim. Thanks so much for joining us. What did you want to say about this?
Yeah, thanks for taking my call. As I remember hearing, Wisconsin has, $4, $5, $6 billion in reserve here. Why don't we talk to the Republicans and release a little bit of that to help out?
That sounds like a great idea, Tim.
Great idea, love it.
That is a great idea. Yes, we're just kind of sitting on the. Well, again, I always go back to it's Robin Voss's money. And Robin Voss knows where he wants his money to go, and it's apparently not to education.
Well, can't the governor do anything?
Governor, I know, because I believe that I don't think he can spend.
The Joint Finance Committee is where the money comes out of.
Yeah, that would have to be. He can't just unilaterally spend the money. I think it has to go through. It has to go through first, if I'm not mistaken. But it sounds like what we're going through right now. The money for, say, this is an example, money for PFAS has been passed through the Assembly and the Senate. now is sitting on joint finance. So my guess is that if the governor wanted to spend anything, it would then have to go one to the Assembly and the Senate in one or two orders, and then have to be released through the Joint Finance Committee.
Right, which they are, and they're sitting on it.
Which they're not doing anytime soon.
Well, and we were just talking to Corrine Hendrickson about school, about daycare. They're sitting on $15 million that was approved, and they're not releasing that money.
Yep.
So I don't think it's up to the governor, Tim. I wish he could pressure them to do that. I don't think he can. Ann from Chippewa Falls is on the line. Good morning, Ann. Thanks for joining us. What do you want to say about this?
Good morning, Jane. Well, I have a great message for your Republican listeners. I'm a teacher, and if we don't fund these students and we don't put more into education, how do these Republicans like these children living in their neighborhoods uneducated? That would be a disaster. So you people with no children, just think about all these uneducated kids living in your neighborhoods trying to find things to do. And trust me, when they're uneducated and nothing to do, that forms chaos. So if you don't want to fund places with schools, then they're going to be living in your backyards. And that scares me more than anything.
Well, and thank you so much for being an educator. And you have more patience in your little finger than I do in my entire body. I give so much credit to teachers. I really, really do. And so thank you for doing what you do and for chiming in on this. Jean from Eau Claire, you're going to have the last word. We're right up against the break. Thanks for joining us, Jean. What do you want to say?
I was going to comment on that, but I got a bigger comment, and that is people need to pay attention to those interchanges between the top security people in the United States of America, and you need to get out and vote. The only way we're going to change this is get out and vote. You vote for the lady that's running, that's even from our area here, which I didn't know, from the Chippewa Falls area, for judge and underlay for taking care of the schools. We got to fight back, folks. You watch what's going on. I can't believe it.
Get involved like Jean. Get out and vote. Make a plan to vote on Tuesday. You can vote early right now if you can't make it next Tuesday. Stay with us. You are listening to Matenaer On Air. This is the Civic Media Radio Network. We'll be right back.
Count to one now. The signal in the sky, oh. That's when you know that you have to fly, oh.
Good morning. Welcome back to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, and the Board Lord coming to you from our studio here at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us, call or text at 855-752-4842. That's 855-75-CIVIC. Or leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. This is the hour for our Break into Spring Text to Win statewide contest. The word this hour you need to text in using the Civic Media app only.
Yes.
The word this hour is spring. S-P-R-I-N-G. Spring is the word we're playing this hour for $100. Nice crisp $100 bill. I'm sure everybody could use that. Text in the word spring before noon, S-P-R-I-N-G, using the Civic Media app. Your next chance to take part in the contest, 1 o'clock with Todd Alba, and then the 4 p.m. hour with Dom Salvia. Everyone who enters is going to be entered into the grand prize. This time around, a beautiful queen mattress set from Verlo, including a mattress, sheets, and much more. Text in the word spring, S-P-R-I-N-G, for that $100 right now. Also, we are encouraging you to text in your favorite movie lines. If you're not going to be able to join us after the 11:30 news, we're going to talk about favorite movie lines after 11:30. We got a couple really good ones coming in already. So thank you for that. And thank you to Carolyn in Heartland and Dolores listening in Madison and Holden in Madison, all entering the contest. Jim from Brookfield, we got yours as well. So text in the word spring, S-P-R-I-N-G, up until noon. Up for grabs today is $100 in our statewide text to win contest. Wanted to spend just a little time talking about Signalgate.
Yeah.
Group chats on an unsecured messaging app, Signal.
Yeah.
About war plans. Now they are accusing the Atlantic journalist who was included in this chat.
The editor. He's
the editor of the Atlantic. Obviously a fly-by-night, Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Completely irresponsible person. He's the editor of the Atlantic who was included in this chat. And now they're trying to blame him, saying somehow he snuck in there. Somehow he got sucked into this.
Yeah,
You have to be invited.
Yep. I mean, it doesn't matter. Signal, Snapchat, Facebook, any social media, any texting. If I'm going to text you and I'm going to text Cal and I'll text Todd Alba all together in a group chat. And let me just say, I accidentally add, instead of Cal, I add Luke Mathers.
Right.
That's how he gets added. He doesn't just appear on there hey, you know who'd love this? Luke would love to talk about this as well. So let's just put him in here for you. That's not how it works.
No, that is not how it works. You have to be included by the people who are setting up this chat. And then the other excuses we were hearing yesterday was, well, there were no war plans discussed.
Wrong.
Yeah. Today, the Atlantic printed the exchange.
Yep.
This entire text exchange, which had not only targets, but weapon systems. The one thing that he did not include, using some journalistic integrity, is the name of a CIA operative who may have been uncovered during all of this. And the other thing, too, regarding Goldberg, who is the editor of The Atlantic, he could have sat on this for months and waited to put it in a book.
Yep.
And he didn't.
Nope. And yesterday, because this story broke yesterday.
Monday. It broke Monday.
Today is Wednesday. You're right. Yeah. It is. It broke Monday. He was saying almost immediately when it was found out that he was in there, I will not say anything right now.
Because he didn't want to, right.
He was using common sense and he was using journalistic integrity, and he wasn't trying to be flashy or splashy. Because let's face it, it's not really the Atlantic's MO anyways. And when they finally published it, we have a right to see this. These are public documents. And if Signal, which is known for deleting messages after a certain point, if those messages go away and we can't recover them, then that's information that we, the American people, are privy to.
Yes, we're entitled to that information.
Yes.
Even more disturbing, this is from today.
Yeah.
A Republican member of the House Armed Services Committee said he didn't even know about the developments in Signalgate. I didn't know about it. Rich McCormick from Georgia on CNN this morning, 2 hours after the Atlantic published the highly detailed text messages between the defense secretary about their plans to bomb Yemen. He didn't know anything about it. Whether it was illegal because it was classified information, that's something that's going to be determined by people who are in the legalese of that. Once again, nobody says that it wasn't done wrong. Nobody says that it couldn't have jeopardized the mission, but whether it was illegal or not is something entirely different. Again, I go back to what you just said. Those signal messages disappear after a certain period of time, which makes you wonder if they were not using that intentionally because those messages would disappear and then not be subject to Freedom of Information Act requests. And how many other things are they talking about on Signal?
I also would like to go back to what the gentleman said. No one's saying nothing was wrong. No, you guys have been denying from denying it happened in the first place to Mark Walls taking all the responsibility, but yet
but blaming the journalist.
Calling him a loser. I mean, and then they were trying to blame an aide. They were just trying to blame an aide. That's not how. No, you are the top security officials in this country. How no one in that group said, "Hey, y'all want to take this to a skiff or do, or at least an encrypted phone call?"
Well, and they are issued government phones.
Yes.
That have encrypted messaging apps on them.
Yeah.
But no, they opted to use Signal. Nothing to see here. It's all perfectly fine.
Hey guys, we're going to talk about the Ukraine situation on Snapchat later. Get
Join
at me.
us.
Get at me.
Spring is the word to text in via the Civic Media app before noon today. Our statewide text to win Break into Spring contest. Text the word spring, SPRING. News coming up next. And then your favorite line from a movie. That's all on the way. Stay with us. You are listening to Matenaer On Air on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Or will you fly away before we see the end now? The signal in the sky, oh, that's when you know that you have to fly, oh, the signal in the sky, oh, let's go. You know you got a lot to do.
welcome back to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, Calvitini on the board, coming to you from our studio here at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us, call or text. The number is the same, 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, or the platform that Elon continues to actively ruin. Come join us at Blue Sky. It's nicer.
Oh, it's so nice.
It is underway right now. Our Break into Spring Text to Win statewide contest. Using the Civic Media app, you must have the Civic Media app. It's free. You can download it for free. Text in the word SPRING, S-P-R-I-N-G. Spring is this hour's word. We are playing for $100 in cash. Your next chance to play in the 1 o'clock hour with Todd, in the 4 o'clock hour with Dom Salvia. Every hour that we play, you are either playing to pick up a Chula Vista getaway, some really nice, we've been there, Milwaukee Brewers Club level tickets.
They're like padded seats.
They're padded seats, really close to home plate. They're great seats. Or $100 cash, and then every entry puts you into the grand prize drawing a brand new queen mattress set from Verlo with a mattress and sheets and more. The word this hour is spring. We're playing for $100. Text in the word spring right now until noon, and good luck. As we always do, or we try to do.
Yeah.
We effort to do.
A for effort.
A for effort. We try to lighten things up for the last half hour of the show. We do spend a lot of time talking about the news, which is very, very important. Now more so than ever, but we think that it's also important to take a breath and have a couple laughs. So we call this our audio sorbet segment. Today, we're talking about your favorite line from a movie.
Yeah.
This is something we were talking to Don
Rosen
from WRJN as he was heading out the door this morning. We started talking about movies, and it's just like everybody's got one.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a favorite line from a movie that you use.
Oh, my goodness.
Because they're so quotable. So what is your favorite movie line? 855-752-4842. Keep it clean. We are FCC compliant.
Yeah.
Let's play nice. Jack from Merrimack has a great one. Best movie quote from Young Frankenstein. There are so many good quotes from that movie.
It's Mel Brooks. Where do you stop?
Best movie quote from Young Frankenstein. I will not be angry. Followed by, are you saying that I put an abnormal brain into a 7.5 foot long, 54-inch wide gorilla? And if you're ever having a bad day, go to YouTube, search for Young Frankenstein outtakes.
Yeah.
It will make you so happy.
Frankenstein.
Frankenstein. Ovaltine? Ovaltine?
Your ego. Oh, I go. They told me your name was Ego. Well, then they were wrong, weren't they?
You know, I could do something with that hump. What hump? What is your favorite line from a movie? 855-752-4842. You can call it in. You can text it in. I'm just trying to wade through all the entries here. What do you got?
I got Tom from Jackson. Make my day.
From Clint Eastwood, of course.
Very famous, very, very famous Dirty Harry films.
Yes.
He was in many of those films.
Favorite movie line, Liz from Saukville, listening on WAUK. From Moonstruck, it's Cosmo's Moon.
Oh, I love it. Snap out
of it. That's exactly what I thought of, too. Also, Liz from Saukville, from Raiders of the Lost Ark, snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
Oh, my God. We did, as we're getting calls and looking at getting calls and we're looking at text, we did assemble what we feel is kind of like, the top ones.
Yeah.
So the top ones. So let's just start with the one I think, at least I'm not going to speak for anyone else, but I feel like more men quote these films, The Godfather. And we'll start with the first Godfather movie with this very, very legendary line. Calvin?
Leave the gun. Take the cannoli.
I can't tell you the last time I had a cannoli. I say that line more than I care to admit.
Seriously.
And it's in context to nothing.
Yeah, apropos of nothing.
Nothing.
It's just a handy thing to say. Just a handy thing. What is your movie line? 855-752-4842. Jim from Brookfield is on the line. Good morning, Jim. Thanks for joining us. What is your favorite line from a movie?
Apollo 13, not the famous Houston, we have a problem, but on the backside, re-entry, when Tom Hanks says, hello, Houston, this is Odyssey, it's good to see you, because that culminates several minutes of agonizing suspense, which every time I watch that movie, you still get, you're on the edge of your seat.
Yep.
Several minutes of suspense, whether or not they're going to go through re-entry. I mean, they show the son coincidentally out in Delafield. They show the mom in assisted living with Neil Armstrong. They show the family. They show Houston. And when he finally utters those words, it's just really relaxes you at the edge of your seat, and it's a very good line. And often when, say I'm coming home from a long trip or something, you often think, well, it's good to see, Houston, it's good to be home and see the family.
That's a great line, Jim, and a great movie. That's one of those movies that if it comes on the tube, I will watch it. And I've seen it 4,000 times. But right, Jim? But it's still one of those ones that you will sit down and watch the whole thing because it's just a great film.
It's a very great film, and it should have won Best Picture. It lost out to Mel Gibson's Braveheart. We're not going to go there with Mel Gibson. But that movie, they had to spend hours in the NASA vomit comet with the plane doing zero gravity. They had to do that for hours and hours to get those zero gravity scenes. I think it should have won Best Picture of the year.
I would agree with you.
Nice.
Thanks a lot, Jim. Thank you so much for calling in, and thank you so very much for listening.
We have Roger on the live stream. My favorite movie line is, the next time I have to come in here, I'm cracking skulls.
Oh, yes.
The Breakfast Club.
And we have another one from the Breakfast Club. Amanda from Middleton says, how come Andrew gets to get up? If he gets up, we all get up. It'll be anarchy.
It's whatever you want to think of this line, but from the Breakfast Club where he goes, what's your name? My name is Claire. Claire? Claire. It's a family name. It's a fat girl's name. I'm not fat. I can see you pushing maximum poundage.
Oh.
I just love that John Hughes back and forth dialogue that just was boom,
Snappy.
boom, boom. Oh my
It was
gosh.
snappy. Carolyn from Heartland texting in. We're talking about your favorite movie lines. From When Harry Met Sally, I'll have what she's having.
Yep.
You can't beat it.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, there's so many. Well, let's go back to our list. We did The Godfather. Let's do another one. Calvin, can you play the Jaws clip?
You're going to need a bigger boat.
Again, that's one I'll use.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's just so you're gonna need a bigger boat.
And if you're a fan of the movie Clerks that Kevin Smith made, there's a beautiful reference where they're just holding a thing of salsa and he's going, salsa shark, we're gonna need a bigger boat. And that was my first, because I've never seen Jaws. That was my first. I know. Trust me, Jane.
That's a whole nother 11:30.
Jane, there are a ton of movies that get that look. But yeah, that was my first introduction to a Jaws reference.
Megan from Sun Prairie texting in, listening in Madison on WMDX. My favorite from Buddy or Elf.
Oh, Elf.
From Elf.
Let me guess. Mr. Narwhal?
You sit on a bed of lies. You sit on a bed of lies.
You smell like beef jerky. See, my favorite line from that movie is hands down when he's leaving the North Pole and that like really like dramatic music comes up and you see the narwhal and you're like, oh God, what's gonna happen? And it goes, bye, buddy. Hope you find your dad. Thanks, Mr. Narwhal.
Favorite movie lines, 855-752-4842. I would like to play one of my favorites.
Yes, please.
From The Princess Bride. Calvin, let's play the first one. I got a couple of them.
You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
I love that line.
Inconceivable.
You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means.
That movie, I truly believe that The Princess Bride is one full line. Like you can
quote that for everything.
Almost every everything in that movie is quotable. What do you got?
Chris from Sauk County on WRC. Are you crying? There's no crying in baseball.
Oh God.
Oh.
I love
855-752-4842. Brian from Milwaukee on the line. Good morning, Brian. What is your favorite line from a movie?
It's from the movie Help.
With the Beatles?
The movie Help.
Yeah.
Help about the book about black home keepers in the 1950s and 60s, working down in the South.
The Help. I thought you meant the Help. Sorry, I thought you meant the Beatles.
No, the movie The Help. And she makes a pie. The black lady makes a pie for one of the her
yes
people that she works with.
I know the scene.
And eat my bleep.
Yeah.
And the white actress says, "Have you lost your mind?" And she said, "Nope, but you're about to."
You're about to. Yep. Thank you, Brian.
Wow.
Yep, that's a good one. And Octavia Spencer is so wonderful in that film. Everybody in that film is great.
It's funny that you mentioned when you said Help, I thought you meant the Beatles, and then I thought of what was their first movie? Not Help, but
Yellow Submarine.
No, the one in black and white. Oh, I can't remember. But there's a scene where the Beatles are in a room with a bunch of reporters, and they said, how did you find America? And they said, turn left at Greenland. Or what do you call that haircut? Hoffa. I just that movie
it
just
sticks with you.
Yeah,
it just sticks with you. Calvin, if you wouldn't mind, I would like to hear the other clip. That's one of my favorites from, of course, one of the most quotable movies of all time, The Princess Bride.
Hello. My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Oh, such a
I know.
Good.
I'm going to watch that this weekend.
855-752-4842. Mark from Prairie du Sac, thank you for your patience. Mark, what you got?
Well, you're kind of pulling me out. You could pull me off into the Princess Bride one, but good luck storming the castle, boys. But the one that first occurred to me is from V for Vendetta. A revolution without dancing is a revolution not worth having.
Oh, there you go. All right. Thank you very much, Mark.
That's great, Mark. Appreciate it. Mike from Cedarburg is on the line. We are talking about favorite lines from movies. Good morning, Mike. What you got?
Rodney Dangerfield with back to school. See me tomorrow night. Sorry, I got class. See me next night. Sorry, I got class. See me when you got no class.
There you go.
Favorites.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
Cassandra on the live stream, of course, just a bit outside.
Like it.
And then Calvin pulled a couple too. Calvin, what did you pull for us today from your collection?
Well, I pulled some clips from Star Wars, and I actually am going to do a little bit of a change up.
Ooh, an audible.
Everyone's like kind of doing like funny or quotable lines. I'll do one that is kind of infamous from Star Wars Attack of the Clones.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating. And it gets everywhere.
It's Anakin Skywalker commenting about how much he dislikes sand, and it's awkward and it's a joke in the Star Wars community. But it's just whenever someone mentions the beach or sand, I find myself referring to that.
These things just stick with you.
Don't ask Calvin how he feels about the beach. He'll go into a monologue.
Sarah from Green Bay, it puts the lotion in the basket.
Oh, yeah.
Silence of the Lambs. I use this every time I go to Bath and Body Works.
Oh, come on. Monty Python, I fart in your general direction.
Absolutely.
And it was a hard day's night. Thank you, Lynn from Oconomowoc.
Appreciate
that. Was right on the tip of my tongue.
Oh, this is so much fun. Thank you, everybody, for participating.
Oh, that was lovely.
We are up against the clock. When we return, we're going to wrap it up as we always do with This Shouldn't Be a Thing. Calvin came up with this one today. It is the Bear With Me edition. Stay close. You are listening to Matenaer On Air, coming to you across the Civic Media Radio Network. We'll be right back.
Kids, if you want some fun, see what you never have seen. Take off your cheaters and set right now to stop the projection machine. Everyone's gone to the movies, now we're alone at last. Everyone's gone to the movies, now we're alone at last.
Welcome back to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, Calviente on the board, coming to you from our studio here at Radio Park in Racine. Join us. Call or text at 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. You still have about 8 minutes to text in the word via the Civic Media app. Spring. S-P-R-I-N-G. Spring is this hour's word. We are playing for $100 in cash. Your next chance with Todd Alba in the 1 o'clock hour. You're either going to play for that $100, an overnight getaway at Chula Vista, Milwaukee Brewers Club level tickets, and then everybody's in the grand prize drawing for a brand new Queen mattress set from Verlo. Right now, $100 is up for grabs. Text in the word via the app Spring, S-P-R-I-N-G. We're trying to catch up to Todd Alba, the juggernaut that is the Todd Alba program. He's beaten us every time we've done this.
The Toddernaut?
The Toddernaut.
No, I don't like it.
No?
I don't like it. I tried. It was too easy. I tried too hard.
Doesn't flow.
No.
Anyway, text in the word spring, S-P-R-I-N-G, like Jay from Eau Claire just did.
Look at that.
Listening on WCFW. And Sally from Amory. On WLAK. Did I take your thunder?
That was my thing.
Sally from Amory.
Amory.
Thank you for texting in, Sally. And good luck. The word is spring. All right, it's 11:53. That means, Calvin, it is time for...
This shouldn't be a thing.
And as always, if you have a thing you think should not be, send it into Greg and me at janesays@civicmedia.us. Janesays, Jane Says at civicmedia.us. Calvin found this one from the Associated Press. Brian Milley with the byline. Headline reads, Royal Air Force engineers shamed by judge over theft of Paddington Bear statue. 2 men who had been drinking.
Oh, boy.
Kicked and yanked on a statue of Paddington, the fictional orphaned bear, who came to England from Peru until they broke it in half, and then they took it. 22-year-old engineers in the Royal Air Force, Daniel Heath and William Lawrence, admitted in court they were responsible for the vandalism that happened earlier this month in Newbury, which is the hometown of the Paddington creator Michael Bond. Paddington Bear, a beloved cultural icon with children and adults alike. He represents kindness and tolerance and promotes integration and acceptance in society. Your actions, gentlemen, the antithesis of everything that Paddington stands for. The statue of the bear was one of 23 they installed last fall, part of a Paddington trail across England. This is all in anticipation of the release of the next one, Paddington in Peru. The judge noted the label on Paddington's coat says, "Please look after this bear." Unfortunately, the 2 guys, they'd been drinking.
Wow, shocker.
I know, caught on a surveillance camera just before 2 a.m., kicking at it until it broke. And then they jumped into a taxi and took half of the Paddington statue, which was later found in one of the suspects' cars.
I mean, how strong are they supposed to build it? I mean, to withstand a rocket drunk people are going to do dumb things.
Just don't do that.
Exactly.
Just don't do that.
What would Paddington say?
He would be very disappointed
He'd probably,
in them.
But you know what? He'd give them hugs and marmalade sandwiches because he'd be like, what's going on? Do you want to talk about it?
Is there a reason why you did this?
Is there a reason why you
Are
did
you angry?
It's okay. I forgive you. He would forgive you.
The pair admitted to criminal damage. They've been ordered now to perform community service work and pay about $3,500 for repairs to the damaged Paddington statue. The statue currently being fixed, and it will be reinstalled. So I guess the moral of the story is don't leave it alone. Don't do that.
But if you have the chance this weekend, watch Paddington 2.
You are a big proponent of that movie.
Okay, 2 things. Watch the movie.
Okay.
Have Kleenex or a hanky, and don't be around people you're not comfortable crying around. You will cry. You may spend the entire film crying.
Paddington 2.
Yes. Paddington 2 is so beautiful, and moments of heart because Paddington is so innocent. And when someone takes advantage of innocence, you're like,
that's not right.
No.
All right, check it out. That wraps up today's edition of
This Shouldn't Be a Thing.
Coming up on the show tomorrow, our colleague and friend Jim Santel, host of Amicus, a law review, will be here at 10:33. Yeah, there's some things going on that's in the courts that we should all be aware of. Brittany Merlot with a little weather and wine update. We'll talk all things sports. Brewers opener tomorrow in New York. J.R. Radcliffe will be here as well. So I hope you can join us. Thank you, Greg and Calvin and all of our engineers. Without you, nothing works. And thank you most of all for calling and for texting and for listening. It really does mean the world, and it's so much fun. I hope you find some joy today and you get the chance to share it. Keep it right here. Text in the word spring. You got 2.5 minutes. SPRING on the Civic Media app. News is next on the Civic Media Radio Network. We'll see you tomorrow.